Oh, no, of course you can't hear me okay. I was muted.
I hear you.
I was like, hey, can you hear me okay? No, of course you can't. Duh.
Well, you're really good with all this techie stuff, by the
Did
way.
you see? Yeah,
I have to give you a shout out because you are freaking, I don't know how you do it. I'm finding out stuff now as a podcaster, like
long time. Listen, it has not, it takes practice and yes. Yeah. So let me just see here, make sure that we got everything okay.
Wait.
Let's see. All right, cool. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
All right. I'm going to ask everybody to bear with me if I start coughing. I'm just coming off of a trip of bronchitis. It's been a fun adventure for me for the last 3 weeks. But I'm happy to say that I'm now sleeping through the night and not coughing like a crazy person in the middle of the night. It's been awful.
Okay. Something's going around.
Yeah, it's nuts. For us in Florida, it's some kind of allergen, or maybe I've got like a new allergy to dust or something. I don't know. I told my husband, I was like, we need to get a cleaner in here. He's like, why can't we do it? I'm like, whatever.
Get one of those humidifier mist things.
Yeah, something's in the air for me. So welcome everyone. I'm the founder of Financial FixHER, and here we are. We're doing this. This is counted as our live training for the week. I'm not going live and doing a training tomorrow. This live client interview is our training for the week. It's a bit more of a mindset and just sharing stories and sharing our adventure together, and to and maybe something that you that we say today or that we talk about today can be a nugget or something that you take with you or that you resonate with, that you can take through your day and through your life, and maybe even make some changes that will ultimately change your life. So that's what we're here to do. So I want to just tell a little quick story about why I'm here and what Financial FixHER does and who and how I serve, right? So I'm helping women that feel alone in their finances to work through the inner self, to take actions on the outside that make sense for your money goals and your life goals, and helping you to become the boss of your money so that no entity, no job, no bosses you around because of any kind of codependence on finances or needing this is all about independence, man. We're just trying to be independent over here. So, and I want to welcome Josie Camacho. She's been working with us, with me and with us in the Financial FixHER program and in the academy for probably about 9 months now. And you're my friend. Now you're my podcasting buddy, which is extremely exciting. I'm so proud of you for just releasing that podcast and putting yourself out there, right? So tell us a little bit about who is Josie Camacho and what are a few ways in which you serve your people at home, and through your podcast and in anywhere in the world, right? So how do you serve, and tell us a little bit about that.
So thank you. I'm so glad to be here, and I am always grateful that we were able to meet. The universe brought us together, as I believe. So who I am Josie, aka Joanne. I'm originally from New York. I moved down to Florida a few years ago. I am now a single mama. I have a almost 4-year-old son, Logan, who is my life. And I am basically a full-time working mama. I have been in the financial industry for a long time. I actually went to school for business and financing. So it was rather ironic that at the time when I met you, my finances were a shamble. I was always the one helping others, trying to get their loans done or their finances in order, but I never did anything for myself. And I grew up in a household which, middle income. Both my parents came over here from another country and they started their lives here and they made it better for us. But I've learned a lot of things over these past few years about, how important it is to become financially free and how much that impacts every part of your life, as I am now seeing. Amanda, what's going on with my life. But Basically, I went through a lot of hurdles in these past couple of years. Synopsis, separation, COVID. I lost my father. My son was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And now I am finalizing the whole divorce thing. So there's a lot going on. So I definitely am happy that I've been able to try to get my financial things in order, because had I not, I don't think I would be here having this interview with you. And through this whole thing, I always had in my heart to become a podcaster. I was always afraid to do it. I was always, being a hypocrite, saying, oh, I'll do it next year. I'll do it next month. And one day I just said, bam, I was trying to find out what I wanted to share with everyone. And it's just basically a platform for women, moms like me, moms who need support. I don't think that there's enough support out there for moms, for mamas at all, at any stage. And I'm so tired of all the crap, all the negativity and all, you shouldn't be doing that, or you should be ashamed of yourself. No. That's not where, that's not how I am. And that's not what my podcast is all about. It's just supporting women and watching me go through my journey while I'm going through it, and I think that that's super important. And I'm very excited, to be here today and share that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And there's no question that, as we're going through it, that's the most critical time for us to be sharing and reaching out for, support and accountability as well. And for us to be able to lend a hand to someone else will also help us heal.
Yes.
Which is ultimately what I do too, right? That's, I'm healing through sharing and actually being real about my trauma and the, the BS that I went through as well. And it's funny, you said, I want to go back a little bit to that you're, you're in the finance industry, and that, you weren't applying some of the things that you should have been applying, based on your knowledge, right? So at the end of the day, we can know what to do, right? I'm a finance major, and I didn't get my finances together until several years after I graduated, with my finance degree. So it just goes to show that we can know the math, we can understand what to do, we can have heard all the things and learned all the things and even applied it once or twice. But ultimately, it's a lifetime, lifestyle. Yes. Right. And it's something that we learn over time, and we just have a kind of a process of elimination, making mistakes along the way, but continuing to stay the course. And that's, what you've been doing. You are crushing it right now. With incorporating I thought of this thing earlier, is one healthy habit at a time. Right. And so it's not something that's we're going to just arrive, we're going to do all these things, and it's going to be everything right now, but over time, you're making huge strides. The compound effect is really getting you, And so give the audience an example of maybe one of those habits that has, helped you to reach some of your, crush your money goals. Let's talk about it.
Definitely for me, it's always been the tracking. I don't know if I didn't know what was out there, the tools. I didn't know, that it was something as simple as grabbing a notebook and pen and just, jotting things down. I've tried it several times, but it never stayed. But definitely, I think the tracking and just the accountability, being in this group, I think those two together have really helped me, to see where I am, to see where I can go and what my goals are at the time, because your goals change. So all the time, and there's always something coming up. So there's times where I'm oh gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. But I think with the tracking and the accountability and just being, what, I can at least look at my picture, my financial print, whatever, a map, and I could be okay, here's some things I need to do. Here is maybe how long it might take me to do it. But I think you definitely need, if you don't know where your money's going, you're done. You're lost. And that's what happened to me for a very long time. I didn't know where my money was going.
I totally can relate to that.
Yeah.
I absolutely know what that is like. And, you know, you said something about how like your goals change, right? So, and as you're in this journey, as your goals change, you continuously to go back and reassess and see like what's working, what's been working, where are you now versus where you were, you know, 3 to 6 months ago, right? Like you know, huge stuff has changed. So that's why it's hard sometimes for us to celebrate those tiny wins because we're always looking for those big rewards, right? But by tracking, like you said, what you're doing and staying very consistent at that, you are able to, you know, be in the process, right? And see your progress through it. So like, you know, you can celebrate those tiny wins, you know, as you go. So, which is huge. You know, and let's talk a little bit about the life stuff that you're going through. Like, so, and we'll talk some more about your wins here in a few minutes. And excuse my thumb band-aid. Yeah, cutting myself. So, but anyways, when you're going through big life events, because these things will happen. Right. So no matter how, you know, wealthy we are, no matter how much we have it together, no matter how planned we are, these things are going to come at us. It really helps, though, to have a plan in place, even when that plan is ultimately going to be altered by something that's happening, you know, that you can't control. Right. And what's great is that you have control over your money. So that's one less thing that you need to worry about in the event of some kind of other crisis, right? Which is huge, you know? So you are going through some, excuse me, life events right now. And how has the Financial Fixer, and you talked a little bit about this, but that's kind of like zero in at it. How has the Financial Fixer program aligned to assist with making this a bit easier to navigate changes that you're going through right now?
Well, it's pretty much like an awakening or like, you know, what's the word? Like illumination or whatever. I can't think of the word. Like, I didn't know that it was something so small as just, you know, looking at your paycheck stub, seeing what's coming out. Because we get paid, or if for those who get a paycheck or something like that, you just kind of like take it for granted and you're like, okay, this is fine, whatever, you know, you pretty much know how much money you're getting. But to actually look at what's being taken out of and actually look how you're positioned, you know, and how something so small as little tweaks, that's what blew my mind. I when you and I started, it was these little things that you were like, well, hey, why don't you just change this, or why don't you just do that and start tracking and, you know, do this. And I was like, I thought it was going to be something much more difficult that I wasn't going to be able to do. And for me, when, you know, becoming a part of the community Financial Fixer, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is simple. This is just a little thing. But over time, I've seen that those little tweaks really make an impact. And as you mentioned, I am going through some very difficult. I'm going through a really hard season right now. Let's just be real. It's just really hard. And it's going to be hard, but at least I can look and say, okay, I'm going to need to just adjust and make these little changes, which I know over time, like the compound effect, I'm going to see that it's going to be okay. I'm going to see a difference, and I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I was able to manage it. I'm able to manage whenever those life things happen, whenever that monkey wrench gets thrown into your life, I'm able to manage it better because I know that there's these little things you can do, these little tricks, these little tips, it's all, you know, in your mind too. You know, don't be afraid of it. I was always afraid. Always afraid of the money thing. Like, you know, what? I can't be a millionaire. There's no way I could be a millionaire. Yes, I can.
Yeah, yes, you can.
know?
So, yeah. And so I had a thought too, like, you know, at the end of the day, like what you're doing now is, you know, not only compounding, but it's giving you all this like power. It's like you're taking your power back.
Yes.
You know, and not like in this grand gesture or whatever, like you just have, you know, you have power and control over something, you know, where at the end of the day, when something happens, like a life event, for example, or a crisis or a tragedy, you know, like not said something, my brain's going to terrible tragedy, but something happens that's really sucks, right? Later on, you look at it after you've gone through it, and then you're like, you know what? That was actually just ultimately a slight inconvenience.
Yeah.
As opposed to this huge thing that took you out. Right? Like we're turning our big, huge problems and crisis into inconveniences, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like it is like that's a different thing.
Absolutely.
And it's a different feeling, and it's empowering, and we were texting yesterday or messaging, and I'm just going to mention something that you said that really struck me. And I'm not going to go into like the personal stuff, but you said, and further, I could have been much worse off had I not met you and gotten my shit together. So I want to tell you, like I appreciate that you're, thanking me I'm glad we met and that we aligned, and that something that I said triggered you too, right? Yeah. But like ultimately, I want to say you have not been my one-to-one client. So I need to mention that, because my program is not just with one-to-one clients. And ultimately, excuse me, some of these interviews have been with my one-to-one clients, the ones that have worked with me more personally and things like that, had more time with me, right? Yeah. Which of course, they get better every day, faster, it's a little smoother, right? But you've been in my academy, so you've been showing up so you've been taking the actions, right? You've been showing up to the coaching calls. When you do have an opportunity to meet with me because you either win something or you're rewarded, right? You hop on those calls as well. And you take advantage of what you have, like, in your toolbox. And that right there is why you're winning, right? Because you are, like I told you before, the universe absolutely is responding to the things that you're doing every day. And I just cry about it. Like literally, it's amazing. Like, so again, my program is there for support and accountability. And however much you show up, you will that energy that you put out will come back to you. Right. It's a vibration. It's a vibe. And it's absolutely working in your favor. So I'm super proud of you for that. And like, I just want to acknowledge that you've been putting in the work. And manifestation, let's not even talk about that. Like, like things are coming to you because you're doing it, and you're just like, you're owning it, taking responsibility and saying, I am worth more. I'm worthy of wealth. And you're having those conversations, those positive conversations, even when it's like, it gets ugly in here, when somebody or something is trying to, create that resistance. I mean, don't even get me started on how much resistance comes at us, especially when we're working to up level, right? The amount of resistance it's too much sometimes. And we might need to take a step back and take a little break, but like go back in and, say, you know what, I'm going to keep going. This is, I'm not going to quit. Right. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that you already mentioned, because I actually had that in my notes. See, we're so aligned here. So we're going to talk about your wins a little bit. And I want to talk about your wins in the beginning. You just mentioned that a little bit. So in the beginning, a few quick wins that you got was one, changing your term life insurance and getting a better premium, right? And this was something super simple, and it was just over a conversation.
I didn't even know.
All we were doing was doing a financial review, and I was just looking at each of your things, and I'm like, where can we, potentially make some changes, right? So I said, look into this. And so you took the action, because I can't take it for you, obviously. And you got a better rate. So that has ultimately compounded too, to more money in your pocket, more money that you can do things with, huge. And updating your withholdings to get more out of your paycheck. That was a big one. You saw, that was a quick win, right? And then another thing was getting on an interactive simplified budgeting system, right? And this doesn't have to be necessarily in an app. It does help to have the app, because obviously we can, it's
I love the app.
It's on the go and simplify, but some people don't like it. Some people like to use a spreadsheet, and you can do Google Sheets on your phone as well and just track your spending, because when you're tracking your spending, it's creating that awareness. So I want to talk about how your quick win was getting on that interactive budget and starting to track and pay attention to your money. But over time, doing that consistently and not stopping has led you to fast forward to this past April when you and I met. Yep. And we did, you were rewarded for showing up. So we had a coaching call, which was awesome. You paid off almost 5K in debt within 7 months of being in the program. And it doesn't stop there, you know, and this was by you taking action every day, not doing one big thing with a bonus check. And, oh, by the way, you received a bonus check because, oh, by the way, the universe was responding. But anyways, right? So number 2, you saved over 3K, excuse me, in your emergency fund and for your son, right? Some things that come up with him, which is epic. Okay. So that's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 right there. You know, like just it's adding up, you know. You increase the gap, right, between what you had in your income and what you had going out in your monthly spending as well. I call it money margin, monthly money margin, right? You increase that number. So you had what? You had more options, more things that you could do with that extra, whether you roll it over and say, I need a cushion for next month, or you take half of it and you pay off debt, or whatever it is. You just got narrowly focused and started paying close attention. So I want to mention also that your net worth went up. It blew up. I'm not even going to talk about that. Like, I'm just going to say it blew up.
You may have to tweak a few things, but yeah.
Right. Well, we've got other things going on there, but that's the thing though, is that even when you take a hit, because we will, you're going to take a hit. We're all taking hits in some way, shape, or form, right? As you do that, your knowledge and your actions are they're continuously there in your toolbox, right? So you're continuing to grow anyways. So it's not a setback, it's a setup, always, right? So I want to ask you how you, like we just mentioned all the wins and like all the things, right? The biggest thing is your money confidence. You know, like that's the biggest thing, because you more confident with your money makes you more confident just in all the life things, in my personal humble opinion, right? So how do you feel about that? Talk a little bit about how you feel about the things that I just mentioned and where you're at in your mindset.
Well, it's funny because when you and I had the one-on-one call, and it was, okay, you know me, I'm a 6. I like to plan. I prepare for the worst. I like things down on paper sometimes. I like to see. And I hadn't realized until you listed all the things that I had done. You know, I'm over here like, yeah, you know, this was a good win. I got some extra money I wasn't expecting, and I was able to pay off the debt that I was planning on paying off later on. But when I saw that, I was like, oh wow. I was like, damn, that's a lot that we've done in just a matter of few months. So I was, you know, I was a little proud of myself, and I said, okay, which, you know what, it helps a lot, Amanda, because like what I'm going through right now is really hard. So I can say to myself, you know, look what I did, you know, I can do this. This is hard, but I can get through it. You know, this isn't something that's going to break me or kick me down. Yeah, it's a little setback, but nothing that I can't handle now more than ever, being in the position that I'm in. And all of this has helped me realize that, you know, and like I mentioned, I will always say that had it not been for me meeting you and going in this community, I don't know where I'd be right now. I'd be so lost that I would freak out and I wouldn't know. Yeah, maybe I would have come out of it, but not with a sense of like, you know, knowing that no matter what comes at me, as long as I've got this down packed like this, as long as it's part of me, then I'm going to be fine no matter what the universe, or, you know, no matter what comes at me, I will be able to push forward, you know. And yeah, I had my moments where I freaked out and I was emotional, because we all do, you know. It's a relationship. You have a relationship with money, you do, and you have to have a good relationship with it. So I feel like that's what I've been doing all this time, is, you know, developing a better relationship with money. you know, and I've had my moments, but once that calms down, I look at the bigger picture and I'm like, okay, you know what? I've got a lot. I've got a lot. I'm not a millionaire yet. But I've got a lot right now, and we're just going to keep moving forward. And what else, you know?
So through the process, yeah, like you're like taking inventory too, and having this attitude of gratitude, right?
Yes.
Which is, you know, that comes along with feeling the confidence with being in control. I mean, we all need to have a sense of control, you know, over our lives.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise it's like everything is just like feels like a mess.
Yep.
And you know, like something you said about how you don't know where you'd be like if you didn't have, you know, the support, right? This is all about building relationships with our money and with other people that are aligned with us and having support. You know, I feel that if I didn't have the support that I have in my entrepreneurial, you know, communities and also in my FixHER community, you know, I don't know where I'd be, right? Like, so this is all about, you know, going at it together as a team.
Yes.
We need a team,
yeah.
right? So even if we are in a partnership, you know, like, and we are married or have, you know, a spouse or a partner that's helping us with our finances or partnering with us on our finances, this is still a very internal, personal thing.
Yes.
You know, and even as we go through it as an individual, having a team to help us as an individual and do the inward work is critical.
Yes.
You know, so you are right when you say, like, you know, things probably would look a little different if you weren't a part of a community, right? And part of something that you felt comfortable and with no shame and no judgment coming to it and having a conversation about something that might make you feel uncomfortable otherwise, right? Around, say, friends and family. So it's so important, you know, where like we're coming here, we're having these conversations unjudged, unbiased, you know, and I think what's worked in the FixHER community and as the team goes is that, you know, we're friends and we're close, but I'm not, you know, going to your, you know, your family events and I don't know the rest of your family. So I'm not going to come at this from any, and see, our family does judge. They're not judging in a mean way, and they're not judging in any way. Like, yeah, it's usually out of love.
Coming from love. Yes.
It's usually some, you know, love that they're, you know, showing. But at the end of the day, they don't understand because they're just like, you know, people have fear around something that they don't know or don't understand. So when they highlight that fear on you, they pull you into the darkness. Not on purpose, right? But you get pulled into the darkness. And what we're doing as a team is we're shining a light.
Right.
And we're saying, hey, here's the road, here's the path, let's go. And we'll go down it together. Like, let's like literally kumbaya this bad boy, you know? Like, let's go. And it's just been so epic. And if I want you to talk a little bit about your podcast and just tell me a little bit about the podcast and how you relate. I know you talked about it in the beginning, but I'd love for you to share that, and we'll also share it when we let go of this live in the community.
Okay, so my podcast is called Moms Need Moms, and thanks to technology, it's now available pretty much on all platforms. It took me a while to get there, but and I've always wanted to do this. I am a huge podcaster listener. I have a lot of different podcasts that I listen to, and I absolutely love them all. And after listening to so many, one day I was like, you know what? I think I could do this. Why can't I do this? You know, and a lot of the people that some of the hosts that I've listened to, they even had episodes on how to start a podcast. So I started listening to it, and I was like, you know, this isn't. There's not really much to it to get started. You know, once you're in it, yeah, there's a lot to learn. But to get started, you really just need, I guess, passion for something. And for me, I have to say, going through what I've been going through, becoming a single mom and now having a son on the spectrum, there's a lot. There's a lot. I have one kid. And sometimes it feels like I have multiple children just because of all the things I have to do. And I don't want to say that I'm doing it alone, because I don't believe that. We all have some kind of help, some person. I mean, you do take the brunt of it as a mom, definitely. And being a single mom, it feels like you're even more, pressure. There's more pressure on you. But I am blessed enough to have help. I have my mom and I have my family, but still it's a huge responsibility by yourself. And I started feeling, a lot of pressure and a lot of like, I don't think it's like my family doesn't want to support me, but it's like you said, when they don't know, what's really going on, when they can't understand it, it's hard, so I thought, why don't I just share my journey so that someone on the other end, maybe they're going through some really hard stuff, they don't know who to turn to, they don't know what to do or where to start. I don't know everything, and that's pretty much how I talk about in my podcast. I'm like, look, I'm not an expert, I'm not a licensed anything, I'm not a doctor, I'm an expert in my kid and that's it. And I'll talk about just things that we go through, things that I've done, things that work, things that haven't worked. And it's pretty much a support forum for all moms out there. But, specifically women in my situation, you're a single mom, you have a child with special needs, and what the hell do you do, And I feel like, especially in that community, in the special needs community or in the autism community, there's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of non-supportive moms, even moms, moms themselves, who I feel like they shame you, they mom shame you, and they do all this and that. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to be able to bring us all together and say, okay, so you may feel this way about certain methods or certain things, and that's okay. No judgment. It's not going to work for me, but hey, you can share it and bring it to the world because it might help someone else. It might work for someone else. But I'm not going to, sit there and bash you and think my way is better, or how dare you, or shame on you for doing that with your child, or taking or using some form of treatment or therapy that's considered abusive or something like that. These are the things that I've heard in this whole community and world of autism and special needs. It's a lot of pressure on you, because you start to doubt yourself. You start to think, am I really doing something wrong? Am I not helping my child? Am I not doing everything I'm supposed to do for him? At the end of the day, all you got to do is look at your kid. If he's happy, if you're happy, then you know what, you're doing it right. And so that's kind of the message I'm trying to bring out there into the world, with a little side of humor, because there's definitely a lot of that. My kid is, he has a lot. he's a lot of, he's very humorous. And a lot goes on, and I absolutely love him. I absolutely love sharing his journey, how his personality is changing as he's growing up, and all these things, and I'm learning too. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with this podcast. I wanted to just be there for support for anybody, any mom out there who feels like she can't go anywhere, she can't say anything, she can't even talk to her own family because she feels like they'll judge her. Or maybe she feels she doesn't have anybody she can talk to who can relate to what she's going through. And no judgment again. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I kind of feel like I'm being at the beginning of this. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know where this is going to, how it's going to evolve. I'm hoping it's going to evolve into something more beautiful, more great. But this is where I am right now. And this is how I'm starting. And I'm just going all in. I'm staying committed, at least. And like I say in my podcast, if I have one listener, that's great. I don't care. I'm still going to show up. And, I tell everybody, bring a friend, listen and share it. And we'll see what happens,
That's
It's
what I
all
always
good.
said to myself when I started the Financial FixHER brand and, you know, coming out there and having conversations about money. Really scary thing. But I want to point out something. I feel like you just resonated with me big time. So my daughter, now 15-year-old, my middle child, had serious focus issues. Okay. Like ADD. And I didn't want her to be diagnosed with that because I felt that it would follow her. And a lot of it was shame. So I feel like you just totally hit like a trigger for me. And it took years. I had her in special learning programs. I had her in the Sylvan learning, the tutoring, very expensive. Oh, by the way. And because I was trying to prevent giving her medicine. And through the process of finally giving her medicine, she ended up progressing. And now let's talk about her as the child, right? She ended up doing better, feeling better, and, you know, did better.
Yes.
But then ultimately, like what happened with this, and I'm not saying this, it's different for everyone.
Of course.
She ended up taking herself off the medication. What I mean is we learned new systems
techniques,
and routines while the medication was helping her. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense.
So, and because she wanted so badly not to take the medicine, she didn't want to, right? Like this was her own personal decision.
Right.
I remember saying one day I was trying to give her the medicine one morning before school, and this is so hard. And she's like, I can't. I can't do it. And I was like, I'm not going to force you. I said, so your success in school, your life, could be affected if you don't we don't want to go back. We don't want to revert back to what was going on. And let me tell you, she was like, it's okay. Like, I got it, I got it. And she's not been perfect. She's still got like some special help, like with testing and things like that. But let me tell you, she's got it.
She's come a long way.
Yes. I mean,
that's what you want, progress.
Like, yeah, she has, oh my gosh, like she's doing great. She's in high school now. Like she's, so, and it took the process of kind of like elimination or trying new things, no matter, and seeing what worked and what didn't work. And just like all the timing of it all, and I really could have used support. So that's why I'm talking about that. That's still something that's like trauma for me, like when you're worried about your child, like, oh my gosh, how is she going to grow up or do well and or socialize? She's had like, some tics here and there too. Like there's been some other things that made me think maybe she's on the spectrum, right? Like, so there's been other things, like we won't go into that, but other things, that like were very concerning. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for showing up on your platform for moms that are, because there is so much fear and shame and, about having conversations. So you can take that podcast and it can go in so many different directions, and it'll probably pivot and transition and turn into different things, because again, as we grow and evolve and learn, so does what we do and how we show up in the world. That evolves, so I'm just so proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Anything else that you want to say? I'm going to just say Moms Need Moms podcast. You can find it on, iTunes, Spotify, probably Google Podcasts, and pretty much all the big platforms. So, and we'll leave a link in there as well for you to find it. You're on Buzzsprout, right?
Yes, I am.
So it's easiest to find the Buzzsprout link. So I'll go ahead and put the Buzzsprout link there. And once everybody goes to the Buzzsprout link, they'll be able to, download it from anywhere. Yeah, from anywhere that it's also at. The other thing is call to action. So if you want to talk about your money, if you want to get some support with your money, you can text me now. Right. So I've got a text platform.
Get on that. You told me that the other day.
Did I tell you? Yeah. So I'm gonna I'll share the number here. So text me. Text live to 727-334-8276. Text that. Text the word live to 727-334-8276. 888-888-7676. And you will start receiving notifications. Maybe I haven't started doing too much of this yet because I'm building the community in the text platform. But if you pump up texts, like just to hear from me in a different way, a little bit more vulnerable potentially, right? Like kind of talking about the things that maybe I'm going through in my day to day that I might not be showing up about online. Like, so let's just see where this goes, but text me first. All right. And you're going to have to follow the prompts and do the things. Don't just text. It's going to send you back a message and you're going to have to do a couple things to make sure that I get approval to actually be texting you. Right. So also another call to action. If you love this, if you are getting value out of this and you think in your mind, just think for just a second about someone, as many people or women that you can think of that would benefit from this community and that could use this kind of help and support, share it, right? Yeah. Share it, send them a message, call your friends, like let them know you love them by maybe giving them some life-changing information that would, it's transformative, right? This will take them places. So let's go with that. Anyways, this was awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you everyone for showing up. We've had a couple comments here. So 6-year-old daughter just started speech therapy in school. That's a hard one because not every kid starts talking at the same time too, right? Like I've known other moms that have been so hard on themselves, so nervous about the fact that she needed extra help. She's been doing so much better and writing has improved too. Oh. So good. So let me tell you, I remember being in so much fear about my daughter, like being like diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, right? Like getting that label. Like labels scare me, right?
Which is understandable.
That I found myself not fully getting her the help, right? Like for a hot minute until I just was, you were like, I'm breaking down, I'm going to die. Right. Like, like this is it. Right. So, but at the end of the day, like it's all about just taking a step, taking action and just, seeing where it goes and what doesn't work, throw it out.
Yeah.
What works, keep going with it,
And you all feel that way. I mean, we all feel that way at the beginning,
sure.
a little in denial and no, this is not my kid. But then you know what, get over it because now you know what's up. And now you can get them all the help. And there's a lot out there. I try to share what I know. So I will keep sharing. And, there's a lot of help out there. You just, you have to look for it. You have to talk to people. You have to talk to other moms.
Have the conversations, man, because let me tell you, every time it's funny, like I'll kind of I've kind of as an entrepreneur, I've become a little bit of a introvert. It's funny. I'm an extrovert, but it's introverted me a little bit, because, I'm so out there and on all the time that I want to turn myself off a lot more now. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, I find that when I get into those conversations and I'm building relationships and learning about others and sharing my truth, that it comes back. It's so therapeutic, So if you are here live, hit #live also, by the way, so that I know that who actually showed up live. But if you're here on the replay, hit #replay. And I just wanted to do a quick announcement. Next week, we'll be back to the weekly trainings. So I'll be showing up on Wednesday with training. And also there's going to be a 3-day masterclass that's coming up. And it's going to be all about becoming the boss of your budget. Okay. So this one is going to be good. It's going to be all the things within a 3-day time frame that we work together, that Josie and I work together. All the things within 3 days, we're going to get you to the next step with your money and get you on your shit. Right. Yep. So, and that's going to be starting on June 28th, 29th, and 30th. So 3 days, 45-minute sessions. Those are on Zoom, and you'll be sent to a special Facebook group as well for that specific masterclass. You will be in your own Facebook group and also getting personal coaching through Zoom with me, the Financial Fixer. So everyone have a wonderful Tuesday. And thank you so much, Josie. And I'll be catching you on the flip side.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll talk soon. See you later.